The first thing Cole Maddox noticed was the dust, an unusually thick cloud rising from the far end of the trail as if the earth itself were struggling to breathe. He slowed his horse, squinting into the bright afternoon sun, and that was when he saw her, a woman bent forward, shoulders trembling, tugging a wagon that looked heavier than her entire frame could bear. The wagon tilted unevenly, its front wheel cracked, its canvas torn by weather and time. But the woman kept pulling, each movement a fight against exhaustion. As Cole rode closer, he realized she was pregnant, heavily so, and her face, though streaked with dirt, held a fierce determination that stopped him cold. Something about the way she refused to collapse tugged at a place deep inside him, a place he had sealed shut years ago. When he reached her, she tried to keep moving as if his presence didn't matter. "Ma'am," he said, his voice low but firm, "you're gonna hurt yourself." She didn't look at him. "I don't have a choice," she said, breathless. "I have to cross before dark." Her knees buckled, but she steadied herself with a trembling hand. "You're coming with me," Cole said before she could argue, sliding off his horse. "Ain't no sense dying on this trail just because you're too stubborn to ask for help." She shot him a sharp look, half pride, half fear. "I don't need help. I just need to reach Willow Bend." Cole glanced at the wagon. One wheel was nearly split, and the back axle sagged dangerously to one side. "Not with this contraption, you aren't." She wrapped her arms around her belly protectively. "My name's Mara. My husband built this wagon, before he passed." Her voice wavered. "I promised him I'd get to Willow Bend. His family's waiting." Cole's chest tightened. He understood promises made to the dead. He understood the weight they carried. He crouched beside the wagon, assessing the damage. "Well," he said gently, "I reckon he'd want you to get there alive. Let me help." For a moment, Mara's eyes filled with something like relief, but she blinked it away. "Why would you help me?" she whispered. Cole straightened. "Because someone once helped me when I didn't ask for it. Saved my life, truth be told." He didn't say more. He didn't need to. Mara finally nodded, too tired to fight anymore. Cole hitched her wagon to his horse, reinforcing the broken wheel with rope and a thick branch. When the wagon jerked forward, Mara nearly collapsed, and Cole instinctively caught her by the elbow. "Easy," he murmured. "You ride. I'll handle the wagon." She hesitated but climbed into the seat, taking shallow, steady breaths. As they moved across the plains, Mara's story trickled out in fragments, how her husband, James, had died unexpectedly in the early months of her pregnancy, how she had buried him alone, how she refused to stay in the town where everything reminded her of what she lost. Cole listened quietly, offering no interruptions, no false comforts. He had lost people too, his wife, his young son, both taken by illness so suddenly that his world had collapsed before he could understand what had happened. He had spent years wandering, believing he had nothing left worth offering anyone. Until today. As dusk settled over the plains, the air grew heavy with the scent of rain. Thunder rumbled low and distant. "We need shelter," Cole said. But before they could find any, the sky split open, releasing a storm so fierce the trail turned to mud under their boots. The wagon groaned under the strain, and Mara held her belly with both hands, her breathing growing uneven. "Cole," she whispered, her voice trembling, "something's wrong." A surge of panic shot through him. "Is it the baby?" She nodded, teeth clenched against a wave of pain. Too early, too much walking, Cole didn't hesitate. He pulled her into his arms and carried her toward a small cluster of rock formations where the storm couldn't reach them fully. He spread his coat on the ground and helped her sit. "Breathe," he said, doing his best to sound calm even though fear twisted in his gut. He had seen births before, but never one this risky, never in the middle of a storm with no help for miles. Mara cried out as another contraction hit. "I can't do this." "Yes, you can," Cole said softly. "You're stronger than you know." She clutched his hand so tightly he felt the bones shift. Minutes blurred into hours, thunder drowning out her cries. Cole wiped rain from her forehead, whispering steady encouragement. At one point, Mara looked at him through tears and whispered, "Why are you doing this?" Cole swallowed hard. Because no one should face the hardest moment of their life alone. When the baby finally arrived, under the broken sky and the trembling earth, the tiny cry that escaped his lungs was the sweetest sound Cole had ever heard. A boy. Small, fragile, but alive. Mara sobbed with relief as Cole wrapped the child in the driest fabric he could find. "He's perfect," she whispered. Cole smiled, a real smile, the first in years. "He's a fighter," he replied. When morning came, the storm had passed, leaving the world washed clean. Cole repaired the wagon once more, placed Mara and the baby inside, and guided them the remaining miles to Willow Bend. As they arrived at the small settlement, Mara's face softened with a kind of peace Cole hadn't seen before. Her late husband's family rushed out, gasping in shock and joy as they saw the baby. Mara turned to Cole, her eyes shining with gratitude. "You saved us," she whispered. "You gave my son a chance to live." Cole shook his head. "All I did was what any man should do." She held his gaze. "Not any man. You." For a moment, neither spoke. The wind brushed softly between them, carrying the scent of new beginnings. Mara stepped closer. "Stay," she said quietly. "Not for me, but because you look like a man who deserves a home." Cole felt something warm break open in his chest, something he thought had died long ago. He glanced at the baby, then at Mara. "Yeah," he said softly. "Maybe it's time." And as he walked with them toward the small house at the end of the road, Cole realized that sometimes, a single act of compassion doesn't just change the life you save, it changes the one doing the saving too. In helping someone else find hope, he had found his own.